Wake from reality. Wake to live. Wake from your dream. Wake to see. Wake from the fear that is tearing at the seams.
That's a statement that most of us wouldn't argue with, at least the people that are kind of waking up and looking at the world and seeing what's going on. Something I would like to bring a bit of clarity to in the beginning of this series that we're doing is to talk about these chains. Like, what are these chains? Where are these chains? Where do they begin? Where do they end? How do you notice them? How can you break them? How can you fulfill, I guess, a life of freedom by figuring out, I would say you have to unchain yourself, and one of the ways to, and maybe the most essential way to figure out how to unchain yourself is to understand the chains, to see what they are, where they come from, where they begin, and how you can, through your own actions, literally unchain yourself. What do you think, Campbell?
The first thing is you have to recognize that you are chained. You can't break the chains if you don't recognize you're wearing them. And we're educated to sort of succeed in the system and fail as humans a little bit, really, aren't we? But again, this is all, a choice. And what we are starting to learn is, we are worthy, right? We are as worthy as anyone else. Who authorize another man or woman to have control over us? Or when did we sign away our sovereignty? Because we've gone along with this thing that we don't have equal, rights to at least to some people, right? The ones that we perceive are in control. But in the end, this is what we're learning, and this is what we need to understand to be free, that we are born free. I mean, clearly.
Well, it's showing the open road, which is what's good about this picture. I mean, the other thing I talked about, like school, besides trapping you in your mind by insisting you think all the time, if you look at the actions, and I've watched, like, I'm living in Japan now, and I watch how the children are raised, and when they're taken out on their outings, or when they're in their schoolyards, and everyone's wearing the same hat, and everyone, especially in private schools, has the same uniform, and you have a certain length of time in one class, and then you're moved to another class, and what do? You're always being told what to do. Stand here, don't do that, pay attention, it's time for this, it's time to stop that. You've got your 10-minute recess here, you have your half an hour lunch there, okay, you're off for this day, and then this day you have to come back. And so basically all your time is being regimented. And, even though you are born free, the actions that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis are telling you the opposite, right? You're not free here because you have to do this. You're not free there because you have to think about this. You have to sing now. You have to play music here. And, overall, even though it's not something that maybe comes through on a conscious level, unconsciously you start looking outside yourself for signals. When it's time to move here, when it's time to move there. And as Campbell said earlier, basically all of these are just getting you ready for a job. You're working 9 to 5, you have this hour off, you have the weekends out of change if you're lucky. And then, don't worry, your vacation's coming in a few months. So you have 1 week free, and then it's back to the grinds, and, what's being ground down, and it's you that's being ground down. So, you do have dignity and you do have rights, but there's something that have to be claimed.
No, I agree. Freedom needs to be, taken and held onto by us. It's not given. Freedom is never given. If it's given, it's an illusion. Because when it's given, it has boundaries, right? There's all these things that go along with it. But in the end, it's a choice that we need to focus on solutions. And like Lorenzo said, focus on how we are free rather than how we're not. Because, of course, they want us to focus on how we're trapped, but that just traps us. So this is all about, really, it's all about, it's about changing your mind is really what this is all about, and learning a different way to think.
What makes you happy and why you're doing what you're doing. And, I think it all comes down to awareness as well with all of this, the awareness of how you can teach yourself, the awareness of what money is. This is something, this Odyssey of Truth, I feel, is really going to help expand upon for the viewers that are patient enough to go through with us on the 8 videos we're going to do, and the many more besides, in between, is to see that you do always have options. You do always have potential. You do always have something else that you can do. You just get to figure that out by believing in yourself and seeing what it is you would like to do, make, and be in your life.
Basically, being autodidactic to me is about getting as many points of view as you can. and because with more points of view, we can make better decisions. Clearly, we have more. Like I said before, it's all about more options, and we have to understand that it's only ourselves that can give ourselves options. Right? No one else can really give you options. Sure, you might have a job and they might offer you a better position with more money, but that's not an option really, because it's actually tying you more into less option, because you're going to have more constraints around you is what happens. And with more money, people go out and get more debt, which ties them to their job. And so we need to break this whole cycle.
It comes down to, as Marcus Aurelius said, I've walked around mansions that I rented. I remember renting a huge house once in Nelson, and I was sad, for that summer that I rented it. And I've lived in tents on mountains with nothing, and I've been deliriously happy. And according to this quote as well, I mean, that's the thing, is most people don't even know what's going on inside themselves anymore. They spend so much time pretending, whether they're, an accountant or a lawyer or a strongman or a happy lady or a dancer, right? They're not really looking inside and really, really getting to the core of who they are.
Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold. And it's just like you were saying, Lorenzo, if we're skilled and we have wisdom, if circumstances change, then, we're prepared. We can change with them. And this is the thing, it's all about becoming valuable. The more value you have, the more value you can give, then the more value you get back. It's not about, what job you can fill necessarily. It's about how you can help people.
So it's always good to keep a close eye on the source of whatever's coming your way, whether it's a news source or an information source, even an opinion about yourself. As Campbell said, someone's saying something about you. I mean, look where it's coming from. Do you respect them? Are they happy? Are they giving off a loving vibration as they're giving you some advice, or something else going on?
Remember, happiness is always an inside job, and that all these, perceived chains and shackles are just perceived. We choose them. We accept them or we reject them. It really is up to us. You'll find links below. Join our Telegram group and our email list. Leave us a comment, a like, share this around, and leave us any questions you have, and we'll broach them in the future.